What's up? Oh, shit, let's play this one. So what's going on, y'all? Just got done messing with some gear. And now I'm taking a little breaky. It was fun. Yo. What's up, yo? Scoot over a bit here. I couldn't tell you. They're probably off. I don't know, doing other shit, man. I live here, not in here. This is this is my property. So my house is outside. We have practice tomorrow, actually. I don't know where you live, but we have a drummer. His stuff is right there. How long you been drumming? Hey, you're from the UK? Well, that's never stopped people before. People record tracks, and then they send them online, and people, record their stuff and dub it. And yeah, I'm in the studio / jam room. Well, then why do I need to let you know if I need a drummer? You just know no drummers. Oh, you know a few. How long they been drumming? And how you doing, Panda Mama? Since high school. So they started in high school. Or that's when you met them? Well, that can be, if they're gifted, it might not matter if they started that late. Yeah, I'm doing all right. Doing all right. Um, just been you know, trying to keep it real. In a world that's losing its damn mind. Where truth and real are slowly becoming hate speech and I don't play the game. So when people start talking stupid, you know, I'm from a small town, you know, where not many people think stupid. We have them. I mean, it's not they're around, but you got to go into the city where everybody's like, their compass doesn't point north anymore, and they all, you know, get upset and angry and defend insanity and. You're like, dude, yeah, I'm sure. Yeah, they're becoming more popular. Yeah, we go live while practicing. I don't know if we're going to tomorrow because we're actually going to be trying out a new guitar player or an additional guitar player. So, um, we might, we might, but it's probably going to be a lot of like, okay, and then, now you try. And that's not fun to watch. But it might also just be him coming over and checking out what we do and deciding whether or not he even wants to join the band. I really don't know where his head is. You know, so but he's friends with our current guitar player, and from what he says, he's into it, and um, all the good stuff. So um, I don't think him. I don't think he'll not want to join. So sure, yeah. A lot of people don't get to see that stuff. Like what it's like. Uh, a lot of people imagine all the other stuff. Like, oh man, I wonder what it's like being backstage, all the girls and the drugs and you know all the stuff we used to do. But we're old and fat and ugly now, so and married, so we don't forget that. But we don't have anything released right now. Um, my previous band that I was in with the current guitar player, we have stuff that's released. Um, we recorded, I think, 5, maybe 6 albums. I don't remember. Those years were a fog. But we released 3 of them. And if you want to go to like underthegiven.com, you can listen to all that stuff for free. or you can go to Spotify or Apple Music or any of anywhere and search us and find that stuff, and that's all available. But and this band is it's been in the works for quite a while. It's still like brand new. We've had people um, join, and then they'd learn the songs, and we'd be tightening them up and getting them ready to record, and then somebody would decide that they want to go off and go to college again or whatever they want to do. And so we'd have to bring somebody else on and go through that process of teaching them the songs. And once they know all the songs, it's about tightening them up again and getting them ready to so the band's brand new. We're we don't even have a name yet, so we don't yeah, the band's brand new. So, but the last band that me and Homeboy were in, we were in that band for, I don't know, 17 years or more, something like that. Yeah, some of our stuff, we're on YouTube. I believe we have like a topic page or whatever they're called. Um, um, yeah, just you could search Under the Given and find us. There's people that used to come and watch us, and they've taken video and uploaded videos of our shows, and there's we're out there. But I have heard that if you search Under the Given, like Under the Given, but I've heard that when you search Under the Given, like what comes up is like some Metallica song. I think it's probably like The Unforgiven or something like that. But let me see what happens actually when you search it. Okay, no, we come up. There's a couple songs. If you search the song Under the Given live at the Rogue, let me put it in the comments here. You'll actually hear one of our songs with lyrics, because our most recent album was just instrumental. There was no words or anything like that. But come on. Yeah, that one's got words. Yeah, no worries, man. Um, that music is not really like the stuff that we're playing now. I mean, that stuff is, you know, kind of heavy music. Um, but this stuff that we're playing currently is more just super loud, in your face. Um, Not thrash or anything like that by any means. It's kind of in the category of like doom stoner metal, I guess. Even though none of us smoke pot. Yeah, you know, maybe we'll um, we'll go live with the new guy and kind of show what that's like. You know, who knows? You know, screw it. So where are you from, man? Yeah, you know, who knows? You know, I've been watching different lives and looking at what um, tends to get the most views, and it seems to be what is the most popular is like ridiculous things, things that have shock value, um, girls, of course, and things that are just um, I don't know, just weird stuff, you know. Oh, that's right. You mentioned that. You mentioned that. I'm sorry. You like it over there? Too cold. Uh, yeah, I've never been to either. Yeah, I'm in Washington on the west uh, coast here, if you want to call it that. We're by the Puget Sound. It's always raining over here too. Um, we have some pretty wonderful summers, but as soon as that's over, it's just gray and pretty crappy out. And what's funny is people will come here, you know, to visit during the summer, and they'll be like, "Oh my gosh, this place is so beautiful. It's so green and so lush and beautiful, and the ocean's right there, and then the mountains are right there, and then you've got forests, and oh, I love it here." So they'll move here, and then they end up getting like seasonal depression, because it's just gray for 9 months. And it doesn't really rain like it does in the rest of the world. It's just kind of like this annoying, barely uh, annoying rain, like this half-assed rain, So, it doesn't just come down and be done with. It just kind of lingers and sticks around forever, and yeah, it can be. But I grew up here, so I'm used to it. And when I see people bitching about it, I know they're not from here. Yeah, yeah. That's what I've heard. I've heard that it's very similar to this area, so yeah, yeah. Diversity, um, that you know, that's that's good. You know, it's great when it comes to food, not so much when it comes to opinions. Um, kinda, you know. I mean, there are um, people from different areas here. Um, we have a lot of like farming and stuff like that here. So, like when I was little, growing up here, there was like a lot of like migrant workers and stuff that came here, and because their parents or whatever would work the farm jobs and stuff, and they had to learn English and in school and all that, and um, but you know whatever. It, they're all cool people. I'm friends with a lot of Mexicans and stuff. You really kind of have to be. You know, what are you gonna just like hate people? Because they're, I don't know, different or something. Not that they're even different. It's just uh, they're really not that different. You know, you can get into some other places where people um, don't really understand what other places are like, you know, and they can have opinions about you because you come from that place, and it's like, oh, you come from America, huh? That means you're Christian. And I've watched television from America, and that's what Christians are: a bunch of strippers and uh, it's just very weird, um, how some people can think. It's like, no, no, the Christians in America don't like that television either. You need to um, uh, educate yourself a little bit. You know. Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's too bad because the information is available now. Like I'm streaming this right now on my phone, and there's really no reason for anyone to be ignorant of these things because they are all carrying around a computer in their pockets, and it has access to all the information, and they could easily look these things up and you know know better. But um, I don't know. I can't force anybody to do anything, I suppose. But speaking of religion and putting them in a box, there are people that also will refuse to believe um, certain things about certain religions that are true. They just are true. You know. You know. So that's kind of like in contrast of people being convinced about things that are wrong about people. You know, it's uh, it's almost the same thing. They refuse to believe things that are you know the way they are. Yeah. Um, I don't know. I think we might take you guys' advice and maybe go live with the process. Give you all a little peek at some of the behind the scenes stuff. Um, Show people kind of what it's like to bring on the new guy and teach him songs and whatever, if he's comfortable with it. I'm not going to be like, well, no, we're doing it. I don't care what you say, you know. But after dude's got the songs down, um, say it takes a week or two, we're gonna be back at it, going live. Oh hey, how you doing? It's been a minute, Melissa. You get to see how fat I'm getting. Well, I appreciate that, man. That's really cool. You know, what time is it where you're at? I think you're like 9 hours ahead of me. So I I'm a lot fatter than I was, Melissa. So I beg to differ. 4 a.m. Are you still up, or did you get up at that time? Well, what are you doing? Wow, dude. Is this just your work ethic? Start your day at 4. Waiting to watch UFC. Jeez, man. That's some dedication. So, what are you doing, Melissa? Are you going live later? Just winding down. Yeah, I'm about in the same boat. It's 8 o'clock here, p.m. I came out earlier and practiced the songs that I'm supposed to be playing tomorrow at church, and uh, so we'll see how that goes. Um, yeah, man, you too. Thanks for subscribing. That's appreciated. I need all I can get. You know. Yeah, the band leader, her husband is on sabbatical right now, so they're off having fun. So someone else has taken over that position, and it's we're making it work. So luckily we've got some pretty decent players. You know, no real virtuosos or anything like that, but we can we can do what we're supposed to. So and luckily gospel is fairly easy music. you know, most of the songs I could play if I were to take off all the strings on my bass except for two. You know, You could literally play most of the songs with just two strings. Very, very simple um, arrangements, and they're just simple songs, but they're like that by design. You know, they're supposed to be simple, so people can sing along and feel the song and just all of that. So oh man. Yeah, well, it's still kind of early. It's only 8. So if you go live, when do you think you're going to do that? I mean, if you do, I'll probably end up seeing you because I'll be perusing. Okay, well, whatever. No pressure. You know. You got you got some pretty cool cats that come to your lives. Your regulars. Um, of course, there's always you know the troll or whatever that will swing through. But I like your people. They're cool. Oh, well, I appreciate that. Whenever people are talking about things that I kind of know about, I will give my 2 cents. You know, I'm I'm like that. I like to share knowledge and information and just kind of help people like that. How's your dog doing? Is he being a good boy? Doing good today? Yeah. Yeah, he's a little dog, so he's probably got a couple more years in him. Those little dogs, some of them can live to be like 20 something, sometimes, as long as they're not like a purebred, you know. Oh, is he? I wasn't aware of that. That's a bummer. That's that sucks to have to watch that, especially when it can make you feel helpless, because you want to help, but you can't. We're not magic wands, but it's kind of weird. Um, I find that when we're going through something, um, when we're going through it, it sucks sometimes, but always, for me, it has never failed that looking back, um, that's exactly how it needed to go, and everything happens right on time. Yeah, yeah, I can imagine. I love my dog too, Roxy. She's she's just um, she's a crazy girl, really sweet girl too. She just loves me and my wife, and she's a very good dog. Very she's got a loud mouth, you know. She doesn't like she doesn't have the 6-inch voice, you know. She's very very boisterous, um, just such a loud dog, you know. You come home and she screams at you, and you know, if she wants to go outside, you know, she screams at you. Well, sometimes she'll, you know, whimper, you know, she'll do that, but most of the time she's just, and it sounds angry, you know, like a really deep, angry, loud bark, you know, like my drummer Joey, you know, he told me one time, he was like, you know, it took me like over a year to figure out that that's just how she talks. You know, I always thought that she was like about to bite me or something. You know, she's 12, but she still acts like a puppy, and she's still got really, you know, I hate to jinx it, but she's still got really good joints, and you know, she still jumps and runs and, you know, plays fetch, and you know, she acts like a puppy, you know, still. You know, you want a girl. Yeah, yeah. I can't recommend mutts enough. You know, or dogs that have, you know, multiple breeds in them. You know, crossbreeds and stuff. They just don't get the health problems. You know, you get those dogs that are, you know, purebred and, you know, cost 5 grand and all that stupid stuff. You know, you have them for 2 3 years and their teeth start falling out and they can't breathe and they get heart problems or their liver, you know, they just get problems, you know, and it's because of all the inbreeding that they've had to do to try and create this animal, you know. And how that happens is they're losing genetics, you know, from their archetype or whatever you want to call it, um, dog, the wolf or whatever it came from. And you know, when you put multiple breeds into a dog, you know, it's like adding dog back into the dog, you know. Yeah, you mentioned that he's almost 15. Um, yeah, um, the last dog that I bought, his name was Diesel, and we ended up having to get rid of him because Roxy and him, out of the blue, just started to fight. You know, they were just total lovers. You know, they're the type of dogs that would both lay on the bed and Diesel would just be chewing on her ear, and you know, and they just totally loved each other. And then one day, my buddy Josh showed up while they were both eating. And, my buddy Josh, he knocks on the door and we're like, yeah, come on in. So he comes in and Diesel walks over, trots over to go see who it is. And then on the way back into the kitchen to like finish his food, because going to meet who was coming was more important than his food at that second. He's coming back in to finish his food. He's passing Roxy and she like kind of growls at him. And that was really weird because they were never food aggressive or anything like that, ever. They could eat out of the same bowl, and it was just a weird thing. So Roxy growls at Diesel, and Diesel kind of like looks at her like, what the hell? And boom, they just started fighting. And since they both had pit bull in them, it was pretty aggressive. So I went to pull them apart, and I ended up getting bit, so I ended up going to the hospital. And then after we put one of them in a cage that we had, and so we could actually leave and not have them kill each other while we were gone. And then it wasn't too bad, just some scrapes and stuff. And then the next day, we were switching them out, having them take turns in the in jail, right? And because we didn't want to have just one of them being there all day, because it's not fair or whatever, so we were having them take turns. And they decided that they were going to fight while we were switching them, because they're both out at for a second, and they locked onto each other. I'm pulling them apart, and I get bit again, and I end up having to go to the hospital. And what ended up happening, make a long story short, is this happened 3 times. And on the 3rd time, I got one of the tip of this finger got bit off. And luckily they were able to sew it back on. But it was like literally hanging by like a piece of skin. And I was like, I play music. I can't do this every day forever. One of these guys has got to go. And we had got Roxy first, and Diesel was, he was a sweet dog, but he did have an attitude. He did kind of have a little bit of an attitude, and that kind of worked against him in our decision making. So we got rid of him. We had animal control come and pick him up, and from what we hear, he was picked up like within the hour by somebody that that like turned him into a cop dog. So I don't know if that's true, but that's what we heard. And gotta plug my phone in here. But we paid $100 for Diesel. We bought him off some lady that was like, she was obviously on drugs, and she had like this box of puppies, and my previous girlfriend is the one that picked him. She liked how he looked and picked him. And I was like, really? You want that one? He's like the only one in the box that growled. So, whatever. It's the one we ended up with. But So, but yeah, that was the last dog that I paid for, um, and it was like $100. You know, all the other animals that I gotten had been free. Um, but I get what you're saying. Some people, like I know this one person that breeds these show dogs or whatever, and I don't even remember the prices that they had for these dogs because I wasn't interested in buying them. But you know, they told me, and I just remember being like, "You've got to be kidding me! People pay that." You know, like I get my dogs for free, and it's you know, your dog isn't any more of a dog than than my dog. You know, I don't know. I wouldn't do it. Hmm. But hey, I think I'm gonna get off here and go see what my wife is up to. It's good seeing you. I will probably run into you later. Okay. You too.